Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So among the carnage that is the Pistons NBA season, one comment I've been hearing a lot is the failures of the team's ability to draft the right player and the right fit. So I thought for today's video, it would be interesting to redraft the past 5 NBA drafts in the perspective of the Detroit Pistons. Now, if this is something you want me to do for the other NBA teams, be sure to drop a like on this video so I know it's something you guys want to see. But yes, there's going to be a few ground rules as we go through this. First, the rule is going to be is minimal butterfly effect. And, you know, if you've seen the movie with Ashton Kutcher, then you know that when it comes down to it, one little event can affect the great future of history, right, man? That future of history? I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying, though, right? So, for an example, if the Kings never drafted Tyrese Halliburton, then chances are he would never get traded to the Pacers. We're going to assume he still ended up on the Pacers. That's minimal butterfly effect rule. The other rule for this is that as I go through this redraft, first off, if it's a first round pick, I can't draft anybody in the second round. Yeah, there might be a steal there. There might be a Jokic chilling down there, right? That ended up being a really good player. But we're going to assume that, you know, nobody would reach that far still. So I'm going to say that anybody in the first round is available for me to draft, but nobody that was drafted before the Pistons pick. Like, I can't just be like, oh, Victor Wembanyama decided to fall to the Pistons all of a sudden. Hopefully that makes sense. And as it gets farther down in the draft results, I have to justify and be like, this is somebody I was actually really high on at the time. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's get going on this, man. So the first draft we are looking at is the 2019 NBA draft, in which the Detroit Pistons selected Seiko Demboya. Not a great start here, man. Pretty much any player we could get in this case would be better than Seiko Demboya. The thing is, though, is that you look at the guys drafted after him, and it's really not anything too crazy as far as the first round goes. You know, you have Matisse Thybulle, a good defensive player. You have Grant Williams, who could be, you know, a good catch and shoot player. Jordan Poole exists. I like Keldon Johnson a lot. Kevin Porter Jr. was actually drafted by the Pistons. Dealt to the Pistons. I don't know. He didn't end up there, but I guess that's probably a good thing, right, man? In hindsight, right? This video's all about hindsight. So, I would say, in my opinion, during this draft class, I wasn't really too high on any of these players. Looking at the second round here even, I mean, THT, you know, that was a drop right there. Jalen McDaniels, fine player. Yeah, so this first draft class, Daniel Gafford's fine too. Nicholas Claxton at 31. But I'm going to say in this first draft class, 2019, the player that I would go with, I'm deciding between Grant Williams and Keldon Johnson. So I actually like Keldon Johnson a lot. I would love for the Pistons to trade for him. So I'm going to assume that's who they took. Let's just do that to start things off here. Keldon Johnson to the Detroit Pistons. So to do that, we're going to assume that Seiko was drafted by the San Antonio Spurs and just fell off. So at that point, you would just essentially, the Spurs would not have Keldon Johnson, right, man? So, trade with another team. We're going to go over here to the San Antonio Spurs, and we're going to, sorry, Spurs fans. I know you guys are struggling too, but Keldon Johnson, actually only an 80 overall. I'll still take him, though. 6'9"? I thought it was only like 6'7". But, okay, so that's going to be our first pick there with the 2019 draft. I actually like Seiko Demboya. I feel like he was not given a fair chance in the NBA, but that's just my opinion. So, next up, we are going to go to the 2020 NBA draft. So this one, the Pistons had, you know, quite a few picks going on here. So we got Killian Hayes with the 7th pick. We got Sadiq Bey. That was via trading Luke Kennard and then getting Sadiq Bey with that draft pick. And then Isaiah Stewart at number 16 right there. So this thing's going to be kind of interesting to kind of orchestrate through. But alrighty. So 7th pick, Killian Hayes. At the time, there wasn't really a lot of footage about Killian Hayes, because, you know, he was playing in France and everything, and I remember a lot of people being like, wow, this is going to be a really good point guard, right? Like, a lot of people thought that Killian Hayes was going to be something special, and that turned out, I don't think he's as bad as people think he is, but, you know, obviously not as good as some players that came after him. So, with this pick here, it's between Devin Vassell and Tyrese Halliburton. So, Tyrese fell all the way to number 12, And it's actually kind of ironically funny that he went to the Kings. Because I remember Tyrese Halliburton, the way he was being talked about was actually very similar to like a Tyreek Halliburton, or not, I was a Tyreek Halliburton, Tyreek Evans, who was a guy that came from college and was like this combo type of guard. He was like 6'6". You didn't really know what position he could play, but you know he was a ball player, right? And that was kind of the same case with Tyrese Halliburton. The Kings already had De'Aaron Fox, so we're like, all right, let's try Tyrese at the 2 spot, and ultimately, you know, he was still good for that franchise, but they traded him over for Sabonis. So I think if the Pistons were looking for a point guard, in hindsight looking at this draft, you would no doubt go with Tyrese Halliburton in this case, especially because I do think he has that ability to play multiple positions. So, yeah, this is one of the butterfly effect trades right here, where, sorry, Pacer fans, but you don't get Sabonis, and you don't get Tyrese Halliburton, but you do get Killian Hayes. So, maybe him and Bruce Brown. No, actually, I think I've seen them play together before. I don't think it was pretty. Okay, yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, 92 overall? Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. Oh, this actually hurts a little bit, actually. That actually hurts a little bit. But okay, there we go. Welcome to the team, Tyrese. So now, no, wait. We got a few more picks we got to do here, right? Because there was 3 first-round picks. So next up, we have to do the Isaiah Stewart one here. So would I still just pick Isaiah Stewart at this point? Pokusevski, I don't really want. Josh Green, I don't really want. And anybody else we can pretty much take after, well, no, I guess we got like Tyrese Maxey available. We got, yeah, that's about it. Pressure to chew was fine. Yeah, I think in this case, I would probably still keep Beef Stew. I would definitely use him in a role off the bench in which he's just like a high energy guy. So, yeah, he would not be starting, but I would still probably draft Isaiah Stewart in this case here, man. So we'll go ahead and keep him. And then finally here, so looking at the squad we have so far, because we do want to keep that in mind to some extent. Yeah, I think I would, yeah, Tyrese at, yeah, I think we still keep Tyrese at point guard with this roster like this. But Isaiah Stewart, what's he sitting at rating-wise? 75 overall. But see, I don't really think they would need, like, rosterly. They would really need Tyrese Maxey, so I can't really justify that. So I think I would still keep him. And then instead of Sadiq Bey, trading him for James Wiseman, you know, I'm actually going to do a little audible right here, man. I'm going to do a little audible. I don't think I would ever have actually traded Sadiq Bey away. I would have kept him on the team, man. So we're going to go ahead and assume in the redraft that this is going to be a retrade. And we're going to get Sadiq Bey back on the Detroit Pistons. That trade was horrendous for them to make, and it makes no sense. Okay, what is going on with 2K here? Okay, so we got a trade. Here we go. Let's go back to the roster. Man, this game, these controls. All right. I don't know what's going on here, man. Come on. Okay. So we're on here, and we're going to go over to the Hawks, which is the team that Holmadik plays for. What a great team. I will say one of my greatest memories is going to a Pistons game, Cade Cunningham's rookie season, and there was some subscribers that showed up that like knew the seats I was sitting at, so they like sat, you know, like a row over, and Sadiq took a shot, and I heard them say, Holmadik, and it just made me so happy, man. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and trade him back to the Pistons for James Wiseman. Just be gone, dude. And obviously some other stuff would have happened here in real life, too, because Wiseman was actually on the Warriors. It was a 3-team trade. So, yeah, that's whatever. And then beyond that, yeah, so we got Sadiq back. We're keeping Beef Stew. Can't really justify Tyrese Maxey coming to this team now, man, with how this team is looking. So, let's move on to the 2021 NBA draft. So, this gets interesting. So, essentially, with this, we could pick anybody we wanted because we have Cade Cunningham at number 1. The question is, would I? Would I take Jalen Green and put him next to Tyrese Halliburton? Would I take Evan Mobley and maybe put him at the 4? Would I take Scotty Barnes on this team here, man? These are all great players. You know, Franz Wagner's a great player. But I look at it in hindsight, is there any of these guys that I'm more high on than Cade Cunningham? And the answer is no. I'm sorry. I know Cade Cunningham has been getting a lot of hate as of late, but I'm not a buyer of him, man. I think when it comes down to it, Cade just doesn't have any help. But what I actually like about Cade on this team with Tyrese Halliburton is I'm actually going to switch Cade to the 2. And I think that's probably a better spot for him in this type of scenario because he has been kind of struggling with his turnovers a bit here, man. And with Tyrese being the main ball handler, like Cade Cunningham, he's kind of a slower, nonchalant, Luka Doncic, Paul Pierce type of pace player. So I like the idea of Tyrese controlling the tempo of the game, and then Cade Cunningham kind of being used in catch and shoot scenarios, similarly to maybe like a Paul George when we play with Russell Westbrook on the OKC Thunder. Also, he can kind of have that Jaylen Brownness to him where you can give him the ball still. Yeah, he's not the point guard, but hey, go create a shot, get players involved, and that's going to be a great thing. So I just think overall it would be a really good fit here, man. And I don't see any reason whatsoever to switch up on that draft pick. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Would you, if you were the GM of the Pistons, would you draft anybody else besides Cade Cunningham at this point? I just think it's too early, and I don't think he's at fault here. So, yes, looking at the rest of the draft here, yeah, they just had that first pick here in the draft. So we're going to move on to the 2022 NBA draft. Let me fix my green screen real quick here. There we go. And this draft, we got ourselves Jaden Ivey. So, looking at the makeup of the team here, would I still draft Ivey? I mean, that's the thing that you kind of have to look at with the squad is you have to be like, okay, Ivey at the time was seen as like a steal at number 5. Like, oh my goodness, like Keegan Murray went number 4. Keegan Murray's been a great fit for the Kings, so I don't really think that's like anything to just be like, oh yeah, they should have taken Ivey. No, they got it right with Keegan Murray here. But I'm kind of looking at the squad, and there's a few players that come to mind because Tyrese, Cade, that's our backcourt. We have Keldon Johnson on the team that could play the 3 or the 4 or even really a 6-man. But I think having like a solid 3 or a 4 is kind of what we need to go for. So we got some really good options here. We got Benedict Mathurin, who's been great for the Pacers. We got Shaedon Sharpe, who I'm a big fan of. Jeremy Sohan, good all-around player. You got J-Dub for the Thunder. He would be nice. And then obviously Jalen Duren. So we got to pick somebody before the Jalen Duren trade. And I think I would probably go with Shaedon Sharpe. I really like Shaedon Sharpe. You know, oftentimes when a player gets drafted that your team doesn't get, you want to kind of gravitate towards hating that player. But Shaedon Sharpe is fantastic, man. I think he's a really solid ball player, and I would absolutely love him at the 3 for this team. So what we're going to do here is we are going to shift Ivey over to the Portland Trail Blazers. And actually, just real quick here, out of pure curiosity, yo, why does it keep on making me just go to point guards? So it's such a... Okay, there we go. This game has gotten very weird. Although I do want to take a look at Benedict Mathurin real quick here, just to make sure, you know, we want to clarify that that's the right move. So Mathurin, 80 overall. Yeah, I don't love his 3-point shot sitting at 76, because whoever this player, he's only 6'5"? Although I think Shaedon Sharpe's only 6'5". I guess in today's NBA, that's completely fine for a small forward. I gotta get my mind out of the 6'9" Tayshaun Prince days. But he would be nice off Tyrese and Hallie in a way, like hunting to the basket, but I wish he could shoot a little bit better. And then going over here to the Trailblazers, Shaedon Sharpe, also a 76 3-point shot. Highly athletic, so really it's just your choice of the role, 6'5" too. 7-foot wingspan though. Yeah, I would go with Shaedon Sharpe in this case here. So before we do the rest of the 2022 NBA draft, let's see what our roster's looking like. Make sure that rotation's looking crispy. And I think for the most part it is here, man. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Shaedon Sharpe over at the small forward position. He actually goes up to an 81 overall. And I think Keldon Johnson, I want to switch him to a power forward. He goes down quite a bit. Okay, we'll deal with that more as we go on the duration of this video. So looking at the draft class here again, 13th pick, Jalen Duren. Would I take anybody else besides Jalen Duren? The only player that I think you could, well, I guess there's probably 2 players in this case that you could really look at and decide. You have Mark Williams, who has been really solid for the Charlotte Hornets. Like, he's just been like the new DeAndre Jordan. Like, I really think that's his ceiling. It's like an all-star DeAndre Jordan. You also have Walker Kessler, who is a really solid defensive player for the Utah Jazz, and he was actually part of the big trade that got Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota T-Wolves. But I think in my mindset, I'm still taking Duren. He's had like a trillion ankle injuries thus far, but I think skill-wise, out of those three players, he still has the highest ceiling. So yeah, I don't really see any reason to not take him. I like him on the team here, man. I like him on the team. So that's going to move us to the final draft, the 2023 NBA draft class. So with this draft, we got Ausar Thompson. And I'm going to be quite honest, this one's pretty easy. There's nobody else I'm taking in this case here. You know, we got Hwame from the Miami Heat, who's been really good. Like, he's making a run at Rookie of the Year, man. But Ausar Thompson, before he got, like, his face all messed up and, you know, he has to wear the mask now, he was playing really nice. I actually liked him in the starting lineup. So, yeah, I would still keep him. We already have Durham, so we don't need Derek Lively. I still think this makes sense quite a bit. And then you go down to the Marcus Sasser pick. Anybody after him in the first round, or even the near second that I would take over him? No, not really. I think this draft class worked out pretty nicely for the Pistons. I don't really have any crazy changes. So, what would our lineup be looking like here, man? We got quite a few players. Would we make any trades or do anything along those lines? I think the first thing I would do is I would have Ausar Thompson at the power forward position. I like him there. Shaedon Sharpe, I think I would have him starting over Bogey, and I'd have Bogey coming off the bench. Yeah, let's put Bogey at... We have to get a little interesting here with it. Let's put him at... No, because Saddiq Bey's still on the team here too. That's the thing. This lineup, there's a lot going on with it. Let's put Bogey at the 2 spot. You also have Monte Morris on the team. You have Sasser chilling here. He wouldn't really get as many minutes as I would like him to get. You have Isaiah Stewart. He kind of falls out of rotation. You have Bagley, who I'm still fine with at center. So I think that works. I think that works. And then, I don't know if it's going to let me do the... Okay, here we go. We actually do the actual lineup, too. So you have Tyrese, Cade Cunningham. I'm going to put Shaedon Sharpe at the 3. This is where I get a little hung up, because I love what Ausar Thompson brings to the squad. But is his lack of 3-point shot going to hurt this lineup? You know, like the energy's there. Him and Shaedon, you know, cutting and everything is going to be great. And you have Duren at center. Benching, you have Bojan, Saddiq, Keldon, Bagley, and Monte Morris. And that's going to be your 10-man rotation. And I think maybe what I would probably do here is I would probably look to, at this point, packaging a Keldon Johnson and Marvin Bagley maybe for like a different type of center or something. But even that, it's like, it's not really needed. It's not really needed. I think you would just have to decide if Ausar's the guy for the starting lineup or not. I think maybe it's just me being a little biased, let's be honest. But yeah, in a 5-season redraft, that's essentially what a team could have looked like in a way. Now, there could be a few butterfly effect things here. Maybe there's certain players we wouldn't have because of trades and little things like that. But yeah, man. So, what do you guys all think about the squad? Let me know in the comment section below. That's all we have for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.